Hello everyone, welcome to the end of day wrap. Day one of Pro Tour Eldritch Moon is done. It was an extraordinary day for a number of reasons. Brian David-Marshall, look, just where do you want to start? Because you could pick half a dozen storylines.
You have to start with Owen Turtenwald. We talked a lot about the Player of the Year implications for this tournament. They all involved either Steve Rubin or Owen Turtenwald making a deep run into this tournament if they were going to surpass Seth Manfield, who had such a strong lead coming into this tournament. Owen Turtenwald just went 8-0 on day one here at Pro Tour Eldritch Moon.
Absolutely extraordinary. Obviously 3-0 in draft and then 5-0 in constructed. A constructed format, we should address the format itself, that coming in looked like it was going to be Bant Company v the rest, but in the end that match was kind of won before the Pro Tour with 80% of the field saying, no, I am not going to have the target on my back. I am not the Bant Company to be shot at.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's funny, you have another player at 7-1 who's also chasing a World's invite and is also chasing a little piece of history here in Hall of Famer Luis Scott Vargas, who's looking to go into his third consecutive top 8 this season. He's 7-1. He played Bant Company. Owen played a red-green Delirium deck, but Luis Scott Vargas played Bant Company. He's like, you know what? This is a good deck. It's still really good. And if everybody tries to move around and tries to maneuver it and well, you know what? And they start making the jumps away from, you know, oh, we're going to play the deck that beats Bant Company, then we're going to play the deck that beats Bant Company. He said, well, I'm just going to be over here playing Bant Company. And, you know, they made a couple of nice little tweaks to it, but Luis Scott Vargas, 7-1 at the end of day one as well.
Well, so many races to take care of, but let's get to the most important one, and that is what are the scores on the doors after day one of Pro Tour Eldritch Moon. Let's get up to the big board and take a look. So there's your one undefeated record. It's Owen Turtenwald, perfect record, 8-0. The 7-1s go rather conveniently from 2 through 8. And as Randy said just a few minutes ago, well, we would quite happily take the top 8 right now.
Oh, absolutely. Multiple Pro Tour champions in that list, multiple Pro Tour finalists, world champion competitors.
Multiple players of the year.
Multiple players of the year, yes, absolutely. David Schneider's looking around at this list and going, you know, you talked about Owen Turtenwald not wanting to wake up. David Schneider doesn't want to wake up and find out this is all a dream. He's 7-1. He's undefeated in standard, playing Esper Control.
Yeah, fascinating stuff. We watched him beat Patrick Dickman in the dying turn. Well, the dying turn. It was the last turn for Schneider. So he, if this stands up, and obviously we will pair all the pods in the morning and depends, making sure everyone appears. But that first 8, in theory, will all sit down at one table to draft in the morning. That's Player of the Year Owen Turtenwald, Grand Prix Pro Player of the Year Brian Braun-Duin, Reed Duke, who one day for sure will get into the Hall of Fame, another Hall of Famer, Luis Scott Vargas, the man who is trying to get the Spanish World Magic Cup title, the captaincy, Antonio Del Moral Leon. He was only 4 points behind Javier Dominguez coming in. And he is a Pro Tour champion, let's not forget, in the last 2 years.
Wait a minute. So wait, you're telling me, so just to be clear,
yeah,
these 8 players are going to be pod 1 tomorrow.
That's what it looks like.
So what you're telling me is that at the top draft table tomorrow, the 2 Hall of Fame elect members that were announced today will be drafting at table 1 at the Pro Tour?
That is what I'm saying.
That's ridiculous.
Well, yes. Or if you prefer, how about this? How about the only 2 people who can stop Seth Manfield being Player of the Year are a combined 14-1-1 on day 1? Also ridiculous. Seth Manfield, meanwhile, who did nothing wrong today, opened up 0-2, came back to 5-2, lost his last round, 5-3. Now, if he makes the top 8, nothing Steve Rubin or Owen Turtenwald do makes any difference at all. But if he does not go 7-1 tomorrow, and Owen or Steve get in, well, then it's very likely that Pro Tour Player of the Year will be live going into Sunday. And right now, Owen Turtenwald probably only needs 4-4 tomorrow to make it in.
That's crazy. And That's very well within his range. Brian David, by the way, just talk for a second about him. He's coming off of winning, as you said, the Grand Prix Pro Points race for an invite to Worlds. He's also chasing platinum, and needed 12 and 4 to get to platinum this weekend. Well on his way here to achieving a pretty remarkable accomplishment in his career.
And worth pointing out that if he does go 5 and 3 tomorrow, which would get him to 12 and 4, we believe because of the field size 302, it's smaller than a regular Pro Tour. We believe that 12 and 4 is very likely, it's not certain, very likely to be in the top 8. Just move across for a moment, if you will, and get a sense of the rest of the top 20. You've got Steve Rubin, who has to be in the top 8 to be in the mix for Player of the Year, Pascal Menard, and then BDM, pick out a couple of 11 through 20.
Well, Patrick Dickmann, we just watched in that last round playing Bant, went 6-0. 0-2 here, so he's going to be looking to get back to form tomorrow morning. Simon Nielsen, a member of the Dane Blast team, the World Magic Cup champion team. This is someone who has shown a lot of promise, and we've been very excited about seeing what he would do. He's one of this crop of promising young players from the European Magic scene, and he could be poised for his big breakout finish this weekend.
Yeah, and I'm hoping to see Tony Ramis Pascual finally deliver. He's a tremendous standard player, and it never quite comes together for him at the Pro Tour, but it looks like today it has. Now he has to go through draft 3 rounds in the morning, come back, and then 5 more rounds of standard. Let's see if we can do it for Spain, for Tony Ramis Pascual. But so many races, all the World Championship slots, all the World Magic Cup captains, your platinums, your golds, your silvers. Tomorrow is the biggest day of the Magic season when all the races come together. And we'll tell that story through 3 rounds of Eldritch Moon draft and 5 rounds of Eldritch Moon standard. And we're kind of spiky around here. We like to talk about 2 3s for 4 and value and expected value and mana curve. Just for a moment, let's point out Emrakul on the battlefield. On the other side, Liliana and armies of zombies.
Not only did we see Emrakul, we saw players cast Emrakul, take a turn, and then have their opponent take their next turn. We saw people we saw games go multiple turns past the casting of an Emrakul. So this has been a strange, exciting brew for standard all over the place.
There's a lot of number 13 around, and it's unlucky for some, but the big number is 8-0, and that is Owen Turtenwald, your leader, maybe your Pro Tour Player of the Year. We're 2 days away. 1 is done. Day 2 and day 3 still to come. Don't you dare miss a thing. Keep those eyelids open wherever you are around the world. We'll see you tomorrow for day 2 of Pro Tour Eldritch Moon.